The second my stepmother stood to cut me from the will, my father's lawyer simply grinned and opened a folder named Contingency Victoria. He left me a weapon she never anticipated, a hidden clause, a silent switch, and a final meeting where the dead held all the evidence. My name is Lena Archer, and for a decade I watched Victoria erase me from my father's world. Now in a sterile conference room, I saw her attempt the final deletion. A digital recorder pulsed red on the table. Victoria Thorne rose, flawless at 50. Platinum hair coiled tight. A designer suit that cost more than my car. Behind her sat her brother and 2 nephews, her personal guard. "Before we begin," she announced, voice dripping with false grief, "I have an amendment that nullifies any prior will." The clock ticked. 3 days since we buried Charles Archer, my father. She produced an envelope with theatrical flair. A codicil, executed 6 weeks ago. Numbness crept up my spine. Given Lena's extended absence and lack of care, Victoria continued, addressing the room like a boardroom, Charles chose to redirect her inheritance. Absence. Lack of care. The lies hung in the air. I wanted to scream about the blocked calls, the intercepted letters, the hospital visits where I was told he was asleep. But I stayed silent, watching our attorney, Robert Vance. The man in his 60s gave nothing away. He'd been my father's lawyer for 25 years. He'd been at my mother's funeral. "The revisions are total," Victoria said, sliding the papers to Robert. "The penthouse, the company shares, the portfolios, all go to family who provided real presents." Family, not me. I was just the ghost of his first wife. Robert adjusted his glasses, scanning the page. The room was quiet. Through the window, the city gleamed, a skyline my father helped build. "Interesting," Robert murmured. Victoria's nephew shifted. Her brother placed a rehearsed hand on her shoulder. I thought of the last time I saw Dad 3 years ago. We met in secret. He looked tired. He pressed a small box into my hands. "Give this to Ben Shaw," he whispered. "Tell him to hold it until the day comes." I promised. That box, still unopened, waited in Ben's vault. "Ms. Archer," Robert's voice pulled me back. "You understand this document's intent?" "I'm being disinherited," I said, my voice steady. "A prudent reallocation," Victoria corrected. The recorder blinked, capturing her triumph. Robert set the papers aside. "Well then," he said, fingers over his keyboard. "This certainly changes the landscape." And then he smiled. A subtle, knowing curve of his lips that Victoria missed completely. But I saw it, and I understood. The day had come. The penthouse was my world until I was 9. After Mom died, it became a museum, then a showroom. Her photos vanished. Her garden was paved over. Victoria arrived 20 months later. She moved in with an interior designer. I was 10 when I found Mom's favourite vase in the trash. 11 when her sunroom became Victoria's gym. But worse was the distance she engineered between Dad and me. "Charles is overwhelmed with the Berlin deal," she'd say when I called. "Perhaps next weekend." Next weekend never came. School events, birthdays, all forgotten. When I graduated, Dad sent a generic card in Victoria's handwriting. I drove home unannounced once, found them hosting a glittering party. Dad seemed surprised, then guilty. "We didn't expect you." My room was now a guest suite. I slept in the study. That night I overheard Victoria in the kitchen. She floats in expecting everything. Charles is finally living the life he deserves. The life he deserves, as if I were a burden. The pattern solidified. Calls he never received, emails that bounced, invitations lost. She built a fortress around him until I looked like the daughter who'd abandoned him. "Have you tried visiting more?" relatives would ask. "Victoria says you're always busy." How could I explain the barriers? The worst part was the doubt she planted. Maybe I hadn't tried hard enough. Maybe it was my fault. The diagnosis was a glioblastoma. I learned from a company junior exec. By the time I fought through Victoria's gates, he was deep in treatment, wrapped in her care that never included me. "He needs rest." The doctor said no visitors. It would confuse him. I saw him 5 times in 11 months. 5 times. While Victoria's family posted constant loving tributes online. Now in this room I saw the completeness of her victory. She hadn't just stolen my father. She'd made me an accomplice. But there was that box with Ben Shaw, and Robert's smile, and the blinking red eye of the recorder. The call from Ben came at dawn. It's time, he said. My office, come alone. He looked older, weary. Your father knew, he stated, pushing the sealed box to me. My hands were steady as I opened it. My father's handwriting filled the pages. My dearest Lena, if you're reading this, Victoria has made her move. Forgive me. I knew about the blocked calls, the lies. I knew, and I let it happen, because I loved you too much to let her destroy you. The words blurred. By the time I understood her, she was embedded too deep. So, I planned. If she presented a codicil, no, it's worthless. Here's the truth. I executed a new pour-over will. Robert has it. Everything goes to the Archer Legacy Trust, with you as primary beneficiary. The trust has an ironclad no contest clause. Challenge it, and you lose everything. I also created a dead man switch. Evidence. Drives in my deposit box. Robert has one key. The other is behind your mother's landscape painting, the one of the lake. I saved it. Trust Robert. He's documented everything. I'm sorry I couldn't fight while alive. But perhaps from here I can give you justice. The penthouse is yours. Your mother chose it. Don't let her keep it. I looked up. Ben's eyes were wet. He came to me 2 years ago. He was protecting you. She threatened your career. He played the long game, I whispered. And he won, Ben said, handing me a trust summary. The Archer Legacy Trust was a masterpiece. 75% to me, 25% to Victoria, but with a brutal no contest clause. Any challenge forfeited her share to charity. There's more, Ben said. The switch. He hired a PI, Evelyn Reed. Years of evidence. If Victoria contests, it all goes public, to the IRS, the AG, the media. What did she do? Start with mail fraud, medication manipulation, forgery. Evelyn has it all. The scope was staggering. He let her believe she was winning while building a cage around her. Why not just leave her? He tried. She threatened to ruin you, so he chose to be a prisoner to make you free. I stood at the window. Dawn was breaking. Somewhere, Victoria was probably celebrating. What now? Get the evidence from the bank, then we let Robert spring the trap. Ben joined me. Your father wrote one more letter, to be read only if she fights. He wanted the world to know who she really is. I thought of the blinking recorder. My father's plan was alive. He'd given me 3 keys, a secret will, an unbreakable trust, and a trove of damning proof. The second meeting was a week later. Victoria brought her lawyer, Martin Ford, a shark. The recorder blinked. Robert was flanked by associates. We addressed the codicil, Robert began. Ford leaned in. It's valid. Robert nodded, pulling out a folder. Our forensic examiner found irregularities. The signing date, Charles was in surgery. The notary's commission had expired. The document references a vineyard he sold years ago. Most compelling, the paper was manufactured after his death. The room froze. Ford sputtered about clerical errors. But let's set that aside, Robert said smoothly. Charles executed a new will, properly witnessed and filed. However, he left a contingency. He opened his laptop. If anyone presented a competing claim, we play this. He clicked. Victoria's recorded voice filled the room. Martin, I need this ironclad. If the old man resists, we get creative. Ford's voice. Victoria, I must advise. I don't pay for advice. I pay for results. That girl isn't touching a cent. Delete this. Robert paused it. There are dozens more. Illegally obtained, Victoria hissed. Legally recorded by Charles in his own home, Robert corrected. He opened another file. Emails showing Victoria intercepting my messages. Sworn statements from staff told to lie about my father's availability. Furthermore, we have records of your meetings with David Price. I knew the name, a disbarred attorney. Discussions about creating financial irregularities to declare Charles incompetent. Ford stood. We need to confer. Before you do, Robert said, understand the full picture. Charles's actual will leaves Victoria 25%, but it has a no contest clause. Challenge it, and that share is forfeit. That's coercion. It's estate planning, Robert said. She can accept 14 million or challenge and get nothing. And if she challenges, I said, all the evidence goes public. Every recording, every email. Victoria stared at me. You wouldn't. The scandal. My father's legacy will survive the truth, I said. Will yours? Robert added. There's also a sealed report from investigator Evelyn Reed. offshore accounts, charity fraud. The SEC is interested. It stays sealed if she accepts. The trap was shut. Victoria's brother looked sick. Ford whispered frantically. I need time, Victoria said, hollow. You have 48 hours, Robert said. As they left, Victoria turned. He never loved you like he loved me. I gave her my father's smile. No, he loved me more. That's why you've already lost. When they were gone, Robert exhaled. She'll take it. I knew it too. Greed would choose silence. Robert then read the true will. The penthouse was mine, free and clear. The trust details were meticulous. My control was absolute. Victoria's shares were non-voting. Her money vested over 4 years, contingent on her staying away. One violation, and she forfeited everything, and the evidence would unleash. He controlled her from the grave, I said. Protected you from the grave, Robert corrected. Later, I met Evelyn Reed, the investigator. She showed me the evidence, phone logs proving deleted calls, financial trails to offshore accounts, invoices for medication tampering, and the crown jewel, Victoria, stealing from my mother's cancer research charity. He documented everything while playing helpless, Evelyn said. It's all admissible. She gave me her card. My retainer is paid for 4 years. If she contacts you, I activate the protocol. The evidence was a sword hanging over Victoria forever. The call of acceptance came sooner than expected. Ford's voice was defeated. The final meeting was a funeral. Victoria looked shattered. Robert had one last envelope from my father. Read it aloud, I said. Her hands shook. Victoria, you chose pragmatism over war. I understand your fear of poverty. The trust gives you more than you deserve. Use it to find peace. But know I documented everything to ensure you never hurt anyone again. My investigators will watch you for life. Leave. Don't look back. And pray my daughter is more merciful than I am. Charles, she whispered. He knew everything. Signing was mechanical. Then Robert produced a final demand, a written confession of all her crimes to be sealed with the evidence. Self-incrimination, Ford cried. Or smart insurance, Robert said. She wrote it, every damning word. When it was done, she was broken. Get out of my city, I said. Today. She left, supported by Ford. Robert opened a bottle of champagne my father had left for this moment. We drank in silence. After I went to the penthouse, it felt waiting. In the basement workshop, locked away for years, I found a perfect miniature model of our home. A note. Started this when you were 8. Thought we'd finish it together. Maybe now you can. Build the life that was interrupted. Make it yours. I placed it on the mantel. My phone buzzed. A text from Evelyn. Subject has left the city. Tracking active. She was gone. Exiled with her money, shadowed by her confession. I stood at the window looking at the city lights. Somewhere was my father's company waiting for me. Somewhere was my future, bought with his patience and pain. The will was read. The trust was secure. The evidence was sealed. She had her annuity and her banishment. I had my home, my legacy, and the truth. My father's final project was complete. He lost every battle to win the war. And from the grave, he taught me that true love is the ultimate strategy. Thank you for listening. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. If this story of a father's silent protection moved you, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more narratives of justice and redemption.